Oops. You're in the game.
What's happening? It's Thumbs, and in this video I'm going to show you my top 3 favorite training spots on Rave and the Redwoods. Now, I'm going to show them in no particular order because I really can't decide which one I like the best. They all have pluses and minuses, as do most training locations on any map. For the first location, we're going to go up to the top left corner of the map to the red circled area, the recreation area, or sometimes called the Rave area in-game by players. One of the major plus sides about training in the Rave area is there's 3 wall-buy guns in this area. First you have the Karma 45 in the back of the scaffolding. You got the Type 2 up in the trailer. And then if you make your way over, there's another gun. You either have to go via the wall climb or open a door off of the main Rave area, but you'll find inside there's Reaver ammo in there as well. Both the Reaver and the Type 2 are among my favorite zombie guns right now. Specifically the Butcher variant on the Type 2. If you haven't seen my video on that, you should check it out. So having all that ammo right there on the spot makes it really nice, especially for speeding up rounds. I don't have to run around at the end of rounds going to get ammo and come back. It's all right there for me. The major downside to the Rave area for me is that right there around the fire pits and the tents, it can get a little bit tight in there. You got a lot of zombies spawning over the top of the speakers and the crowd rail there, and it can really kind of congest things. So you can run a horseshoe around that tent and fire pit area basically. You can use the wood pillar on one side and the road as the top of the horseshoe and get pretty good results. You can also run a figure 8 or try to do a round if you want. The other nice thing about the Rave area that I like is there's like a few different options you have for when things go bad. You can head up the road, take a right, and head for the climbing wall. Drop back down into the cave and use the front of the cave back into the Rave as a choke point to just blast zombies. You also have the scaffolding. If you come in on the side away from trailer, you have a couple options about which way you can move through there, back towards the Karma 45 or straight across the bridge. If you go straight across, that's a pretty good choke point if you want to just take out a horde real quick. Just be careful not to spend too much time there. As they start to spawn in, you can find yourself trapped from zombies on the other side. But also as you head out, you can head straight up to the Type 2 or take a right back down into the center area. So depending on how many zombies you got trying to corner you there, it gives you some options. This area is pretty adaptable as rounds go up and zombies speed up and change their spawning habits. All in all, nice little training area. For the next spot, we're headed to Turtle Island. All the way down there at the bottom of the map, you'll see it circled in red. It's right beneath the Bear Lake logo. You'll have to build the boat to get out to this location. Now, some things I like about the island are it's completely wide open. It's also very flat. And flat is important to me because when you have a pile of zombies behind you and you snap to the heads, you want to be shooting heads all the way through the pile. If you're on uneven ground, you're shooting down or up at the zombies. Some are going to be hitting the head, some in the body. It just basically slows down your kill rate. And I like to kill zombies quick. There's a ton of different routes you can run through here. There's a lot of rocks and things. There's a nice horseshoe route I like to run in the middle, but there's also some figure 8s. You can get the long circle around the outside, any combination of short circles if you cut inside at any point. It's really very customizable training location for how you like to train and for what round you're on. There's spawn points all over the place, so you're getting plenty of spawns quickly. Doesn't take long to get a pile up behind you. There's some really long straight patches. You can bring a pile down if you want to just kind of stand and shoot for a while. And there's also a really cool area up on the stairs there where I like to camp. If you've seen my camping video, that's a really great place to engage Bigfoots. They come running straight at you. They don't throw a lot of skulls. You've got a long time to just kind of pick them off with the Reaver M1, whatever you like to use on Bigfoots, really. Also, if you build the frog charm early in the game, then this area becomes even more wide open as you can use the water to get around zombies spawning on a beach. There is also some spawning locations in the water, so look out for that. The downsides to this location, you don't get any gem drops out there. I don't know why this is, but there's also no totem poles, so you're not building traps along the way to speed things up. There's a couple spawn problems where Bigfoots will spawn inside objects and zombies will sometimes spawn on the other side of the map. Those can be hairy, you got to go across to get them. Also, ammo is really inconvenient. You got to travel a long ways to get it. So those are the downsides to the island location. For the next location, we're headed over to the left center of the map. It's circled there in red. It's called Thunderbird Amphitheater. It's also sometimes known by players as the Fire Pit. At the fire pit, I like to run a horseshoe train, and I use basically the two tents as the bottom edge of the horseshoe, and that top rock wall where the eagle statues are as the top of the horseshoe, so to speak. I just kind of cut inside the tent, wrap around the outside, and then bring it back around and cut inside the next tent. It's a nice little route. There's a couple of upsides to it. One is, you see I turn and shoot on the diagonals there, and as I'm backing up and shooting, I can see the tent show up on the side of my screen. That's my visual cue to know when I need to turn and start heading back up. That way I don't find myself backed up against an obstacle. Works pretty good. The spawns come pretty fast, and all in all, it's a really open area between those two tents. There's a couple of routes. If you get in trouble, you can go around the outside of the tent instead of cutting inside of it and make kind of a bigger loop. Also, if you really get yourself into trouble because you're not really using the area over there by the fallen log, you can always head for that and slide underneath it, kind of do a big circle and reset your training route. I like that a lot. There's very few obstacles in between those tents, and then it's kind of a large open area in there, which gives you some mobility across the top to wait and drop down later if you're getting spawns weird or however you need to adjust your route. There's a lot of adjustment room in the middle part of that horseshoe. Another thing I like about the fire pit location is that it's close to the Rave, where a lot of the ammo I like is. Also, it's close to spawn, so if you need to, say, go RPR Evo ammo or something, you could head into spawn and zip line over to the cabins or wherever you grab your ammo from. It makes it pretty convenient for refilling. Not as convenient as Rave, but pretty convenient nonetheless. The downsides are there's some spawns across the top of that wall that can sometimes be a bit to manage. Guys jumping over and guys spawning on the ground as well. So you just kind of got to learn how to weave through that top part. Sometimes it can get a little congested. And also there's no totem pole on site like there is in Rave, so as you collect gems, you're going to have to travel a little bit farther to build them, either back to spawn or to Rave in between rounds. It's not a huge deal, but it does slow you down. I hope these spots help you guys out, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.